Developing news to bring you tonight. 2 women are shot multiple times. Now, police are searching for one of their husbands.
New troubles for those involved in the 311 boys case. But this time, the trouble is not with one of the teens, but one of the grand jurors who indicted them.
Police are hoping a man caught on surveillance tape at a local 7-Eleven can help them solve a murder in front of the store.
And new information on the effect of the No Child Left Behind Act. Find out how many schools in Clark County are not making the grade.
Celebrating 50 years of leadership. This is KLAS TV, Channel 8, Las Vegas.
2 women are in extremely critical condition at this hour after what police are calling a domestic violence shooting.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Gary's off tonight. North Las Vegas police are looking for a man suspected of gunning down his own family. Just before 3 this afternoon, a 40-year-old woman and a 24-year-old woman were shot multiple times in their house near Pecos and Cary. Witnesses say the 40-year-old's husband was seen speeding off in a car.
It's believed that he is possibly still here in the valley at family or friend's house. Here in the valley, we're trying to confirm that.
Suspect's name is Gustavo Mejia Ayala. He is described as a 50-year-old Hispanic male, 5'10", about 180 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Could the indictments be dismissed in the 311 boys case because one of the jurors gave his opinion on the teens in a newspaper article?
Well, a member of the grand jury wrote a letter to the editor in the Las Vegas Review-Journal September 8th, but could that letter show a bias that would result in the jury and the indictments being dismissed?
Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Cindy Caesar has been following the case from the start. She joins us with the very latest on this. Cindy.
Well, Paul and Dave, first of all, the district attorney's office is investigating the incident in which a grand juror gave his opinion on the 311 boys in this newspaper article right here. Whether there is criminal wrongdoing is another question.
This letter to the editor called the 311 boys, quote, spoiled, self-absorbed rich kids who thought they were above the law. A person is entitled to their opinion on the case in which Stephen Tanner Hansen was brutally beaten. But the only problem here is that the writer is a member of the grand jury who handed down the indictment in the case.
And for him to write that scathing article in letters to the editor makes the grand jury proceeding completely a nullity. And I think it has to be dismissed, and I think they'd have to go to a new grand jury to re-indict.
After the juror, Ralph Smith, wrote the opinion piece, he sat on 2 more cases involving an alleged 311 boys member. Stephen Gaisley was then charged with a butter knife assault and a crowbar beating. District Attorney David Roger is investigating the incident, but Roger points out that the indictment can only be dismissed if extreme prejudice is shown.
If for some reason the court were to dismiss the indictment, we would present the case to the second grand jury.
Independent of the district attorney's investigation on this one juror, the chief judge will also have to decide if this one juror will be able to remain on the grand jury.
So far, no decision has been made on the juror's fate in regard to this case, but he does face gross misdemeanor and contempt of court charges if found guilty of revealing information from the grand jury.
We made attempts to contact Ralph Smith, but were not able to locate him for a comment on this case. The motion to overturn the indictments will be heard in court on October 21st. So basically, it's a waiting game right now. The district attorney's office will conduct its investigation. The chief judge will have to decide whether this grand juror will be able to stay on the grand jury. And so now we just have to wait and see.
It's a bit unusual. Yeah.
It is an unusual situation.
Okay, thanks, Cindy.
North Las Vegas police are searching for several suspects wanted in connection with a murder at a local 7-Eleven store. They hope an image on a store surveillance tape will help in their investigation. Channel 8 Eyewitness News is live. Atlee Erlingson joins us from the scene of the shooting near Pecos and Gowan. Atlee.
Paula, friends and family of the 7-Eleven clerk who was murdered have gathered here in the parking lot now, creating a makeshift shrine for him. The man believed to be in the surveillance video has been arrested. Police are confident he witnessed the shooting, but whether or not he was involved in it specifically is unknown. There is no specific motive for the killing. There was no robbery, and the victim is not believed to be part of any gang. Instead, those who know him best say he was a hard-working father of 4. 2:20 a.m. 28-year-old Kelvin Bias was sweeping outside the 7-Eleven store near Pecos and Gowan. Police say a car filled with men drove up, and one person got out and approached Bias.
He questioned him about his tattoos and then produced a gun and shot the victim.
Justin Roberts with North Las Vegas Police says Bias was shot at least once in the chest, dying at UMC just hours later. Bias's tattoos are not gang-related.
The tattoos on his arms were his kids' names.
7-Eleven store manager Becky Corbett says Bias was a family man, a father of 4 working hard during the graveyard shift.
I was totally shocked. I couldn't believe it.
Moments after the shooting, store surveillance video recorded a man police identify as Lee Gamage entering with his shirt covering his face. He unsuccessfully tried to take money from the register and instead went to the back of the store, took several bottles of beer, then walked out. Gamage has been charged with burglary, but at this point he has not been specifically connected to this murder. Police say he walked right inside the 7-Eleven store 9 seconds after the shooting. They watched it on the surveillance tape. They say he walked right past the victim on his way in and right past the victim on his way out without helping him at all. Police have located the getaway car earlier this afternoon at a nearby apartment complex. They're currently scouring it for clues. At this point, the shooter is still on the loose, along with an unknown number of people who were also in that car. That's the latest from Pecos and Gowan. Paula, back to you.
Sad story. Thank you, Atlee.
Bit of good news tonight, though, for the family of a Valley toddler. The little girl was nearly crushed to death when she was accidentally run over by the family's SUV. Thankfully, the little girl's back home tonight after being hospitalized for more than a week. The 2-year-old suffered 2 skull fractures in that accident.
Clark County prosecutors have delayed filing formal charges against a suspect in a triple shooting. 1 man died and 2 Metro officers were injured. As Eyewitness News reporter Brian Allen tells us, the suspect's attorney is already introducing a controversial defense plan centered on his client's reported mental illness.
Prosecutors have delayed filing charges against 26-year-old Frank Lyles. They want more information before moving forward.
We've asked them to conduct some additional investigation just to clean up the investigation, tie down a few loose ends.
An evidence collection process which is nearing completion.
In the case that we're talking about, it was pretty clear and looks like we have it pretty well nailed down.
What hasn't been nailed down, a claim by Lyle's attorney that his client was turned away from a state mental health clinic after arriving late for an appointment 1 day before the September 25th shootings.
He's never had a violent act in his life and never had a criminal charge in his life, and we feel because he didn't have his medication that this set him off, and the incidents and the resulting murder and wounding of the 2 police officers.
And it's that contention that's at the heart of the defense's case. Did a state mental health agency, such as this one in Las Vegas, turn a patient away simply because they were late for an appointment? The answer, it's possible. Dr. Jonna Triggs heads up Southern Nevada's state mental health service and says the system is so underfunded and understaffed, if someone does come late to an appointment, they're asked to reschedule. But nurses and doctors must ask an important question before sending patients away.
Find out if they're out of their medication, and if they are, make sure they see somebody.
James Buchanan says Frank Lyles did reschedule, but was out of medicine and didn't receive any at the clinic. He claims the result was gunfire at Bonanza and MLK. Brian Allen, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Dr. Triggs says in Southern Nevada's mental health service, the ratio of doctors to patients is 1 to 800. Tomorrow is an important day for the system. Millions in new state funding kicks in, allowing the system to hire more doctors and nurses to lower that ratio.
Well, money and medical care are almost impossible to live without, but according to a new study, Southern Nevada residents are having difficulty acquiring both, which could be causing residents other life-altering problems. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter John Summers has that story.
You want everything to go well in life, but it's not.
Especially for Chuck Hillman, who was diagnosed with lung cancer just 4 months ago.
Don't give up.
Finding that something is difficult, especially in Southern Nevada. Even harder when you're ill. A study released by the United Way and the Nevada Community Foundation, sponsored by Channel 8, lists a lack of affordable health care as the #1 major issue in southern Nevada, followed by poor education funding, drug abuse, traffic, and overcrowded classrooms. In addition to community issues, the 600 respondents ranked concerns in their own homes. Topping that list, difficulty budgeting money, followed by anxiety, stress, and depression, inability to afford medical expenses, unemployment, and tobacco addiction. Dan Goulet of the United Way says the top 5 household worries are frequently related, especially anxiety.
The more that you're able to control your budget, the more that you're able to influence your cash flow, then I think the more at ease people become.
The study sheds light on what improvements need to be made, but Goulet says getting there will take time.
It'll take 5 years to create a mental health plan, for example. And with that, how do we fund it?
With his insurance running out in just 3 months, Hillman wonders about his own funding. For now, he's focusing on a bigger battle for his life.
I'm going to beat it. It's just taking me a little while right now to get things going, knowing what way to go to beat it. But I have to beat it. That's the only thing I got to do.
John Summers, Channel 8, Eyewitness News.
The United Way says people who are in difficult situations and aren't sure how to get out should call them at 734-CARE. Counselors can help anyone in any income bracket find the help they need. And to read that study for yourself, log on to our website at KLASTV.com.
A man is in custody after police say he threatened to open fire on a classroom full of students. Police say 40-year-old Stoney Flores entered an art class at the Community College Cheyenne campus about 6 last night and handed the teacher a note. It read, "I have a gun. Have everyone leave and lock the door or I will start shooting people." Police say Flores had a kitchen knife on him at the time of his arrest, but no gun.
New taxes are about to go into effect in Clark County. Coming up on Eyewitness News, see how your next major purchase might be affected.
But first, new details on why the progress of students at some Clark County schools is being closely watched.
I'm Kevin Janison of the Channel 8 Weather Office. It is the end of September. We're looking ahead to October, and we are slashing degrees. We'll have a complete look at your autumn-like forecast, the 7-day forecast, and how hot it was in your neighborhood today. That's just around the corner. But as we head to break, here are the real-time conditions near Jones and Smoke Ranch. We'll be right back.
You're watching the News Leader, Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 6, with Paula Francis, Gary Waddell, neighborhood weather with Kevin Janison, and sports with Dave McCann. Channel 8 Eyewitness News, the News Leader.
New information tonight on the No Child Left Behind Act. Eyewitness News has learned that nearly half of Clark County schools have been placed on a preliminary watch list. As Eyewitness News anchor Colleen May reports, while schools are waiting to see if their appeals will be granted, administrators are taking a closer look at their school's achievements.
The 3 counselors.
Greenspun Middle School Principal Viola Washington is getting her staff geared up to improve education. She says part of the motivation is the No Child Left Behind Act.
When we heard the term No Child Left Behind, everybody began to ask themselves, what more can we do? We're doing all we can do. But once you really start looking into what you're doing, and you realize there's always room for improvement, always.
Greenspun Middle School is one of several schools placed on the preliminary watch list. A watch list means the school has not met its yearly progress for 1 year. Under the Act, schools are ranked on participation and achievement in 8 subcategories. Greenspun is appealing its placement on that list. Eyewitness News has learned that out of the 271 public schools in Clark County, 123 are on the preliminary watch list. These numbers do not include year-round schools.
Because it's making us look at ourselves now, not at anybody else, but what we are doing at Greenspun. And because of that, we're beginning to realize that we have a lot of work to do.
The Department of Education says schools like Greenspun that are appealing the decision should know in about a week whether they'll officially be placed on that watch list. Washington says she's already setting up a mentor program and a way for counselors to pay closer attention to their students. Clark County School District officials say they will make the final watch list public. They say they are still working out the details of how parents will be notified. Colleen May, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
And Eyewitness News spoke with one principal who is instructing his teachers to talk to students about the watch list and what it means.